The moment you die, you don't just disappear into darkness, you are taken somewhere. And the beings waiting for you there are not what any religion ever told you they would be. The ancient Gnostic texts describe this place in terrifying detail. A chamber of judgment run not by God, but by the Archons. If you've ever wondered what truly waits beyond death, subscribe, because what we reveal on this channel is what they have always tried to keep buried. The moment your heart stops, something extraordinary happens. Not the peaceful dissolving into nothingness that modern science would have you believe. Not the gentle ascent toward a loving light that Sunday sermons have promised for centuries. Something far older, far stranger, and far more deliberate takes place, and the ancient Gnostic texts, hidden beneath desert sands for over 1,600 years, describe exactly what that something is. They called it the Judgement Room. Not heaven, not hell, not purgatory. A chamber, a constructed space, engineered with terrifying precision, designed not to liberate your soul but to process it, to evaluate it, to decide what happens to it next. And the beings who run this chamber are not angels. They are not saints. They are not the divine messengers that every major religion has conditioned you to expect. According to the Gnostic masters who risked everything to preserve this knowledge, the beings who greet you after death are the Archons, the cosmic administrators of a system that was never built in your favor. To understand what the Judgment Room truly is, you must first understand who built it. The Gnostics taught that the physical world, everything you can see, touch, and measure, was not created by the ultimate divine source. It was created by a lesser being, a blind and arrogant architect they called the Demiurge. This false creator, drunk on his own power and ignorant of the higher realms of pure light above him, fashioned a material prison and populated it with souls who did not belong here. Souls who came from somewhere far greater, souls like yours. To maintain this prison, the Demiurge appointed administrators, rulers, managers of the cycle. These are the Archons, 12 primary beings aligned with the zodiac, 7 planetary rulers governing the wandering stars, and hundreds more overseeing every layer of what the Gnostics called the material realm. Their job is not to punish you. Their job is not even to judge you in any meaningful moral sense. Their job is to keep the system running, and the system requires one thing above all else: souls must return. This is where the Judgment Room enters the picture. When you die, the Gnostic texts describe a journey through layers of reality, what they called the aeons, the cosmic shells that surround the material world. Each layer is governed by a different archon, and at each threshold, you are stopped, you are questioned, you are weighed, not by the God of unconditional love, not by a divine tribunal of cosmic justice, by beings whose only interest is whether you are ready to be sent back into a body, back into the cycle, back into the prison that keeps their world alive. The Apocryphon of John, one of the most important texts recovered from the Nag Hammadi library discovered in 1945 in the Egyptian desert, describes this process in extraordinary detail. It speaks of the soul's ascent after death and the rulers who block its path. These rulers do not greet you with warmth. They interrogate you. They present you with challenges, and if you do not know the correct responses, if you have not remembered who you truly are, they send you back, not as punishment, as maintenance, because a recycled soul is a controlled soul. Now think about the near-death experiences that have been reported by millions of people across recorded history. The tunnel, the light, the feeling of absolute peace, the voices of loved ones calling you forward. The Gnostics would look at these accounts and offer a warning that cuts through every comforting interpretation. That light, they would say, is not the divine source. That tunnel is not the road to liberation. Those voices are not necessarily your ancestors. They are projections, constructions, luminous snares woven by the Archons to ensure that the soul walks willingly back toward the cycle without ever questioning what it is walking into. The Pistis Sophia, another ancient Gnostic text of staggering depth, describes in vivid and almost disturbing language how the soul is met after death by forces that wear the faces of the familiar. It describes how these forces offer comfort, offer reunion, offer resolution, and how the soul, overwhelmed by the emotional intensity of what it is experiencing, surrenders. It stops asking questions. It stops remembering. And in that moment of forgetting, the door of the judgment room closes behind it and the cycle begins again. But here is what the Gnostic masters wanted you to understand above everything else. The judgment room is not inevitable. The cycle is not inescapable. The Archons are not omnipotent. They have authority only over what forgets itself. They have power only over the soul that believes the illusion is real. The moment a soul remembers, truly remembers, that it carries within it a divine spark that comes from beyond the Demiurge, beyond the Archons, beyond the entire constructed architecture of this material realm, the game changes completely. The first apocalypse of James describes something remarkable. It describes the awakened soul standing before the Archon gatekeepers after death and speaking with authority, not cowering, not pleading, not accepting their judgment as legitimate, but declaring its origin, naming its source, refusing to be processed by a system it now sees clearly for what it is. And when the soul does this, when it holds the memory of its true nature through the chaos and the beauty and the terror of the after-death experience, the Archons cannot hold it. They have no jurisdiction over what remembers where it truly belongs. This is why the Gnostic teachers described their work as the most dangerous knowledge in the ancient world. Not because it was violent, not because it was destructive, but because it was liberating. And liberation is the one thing that a prison cannot survive. Every soul that passes through the judgment room with full awareness, with full memory of its divine origin, with full refusal to be dazzled by the false light, is a soul that escapes the cycle. And every soul that escapes the cycle weakens the architecture of the Archons by exactly one thread. The early church fathers understood this. The Roman authorities understood this. The councils that burned the Gnostic texts and condemned their teachers as heretics understood this, because the judgment room only functions on souls who do not know it exists. The moment you name it, you begin to dissolve its power over you. The moment you see the architecture of the trap, you are already standing slightly outside of it. So ask yourself this: every fear you have ever carried about death, every anxiety, every dread, every sleepless night spent wondering what waits on the other side, where did that fear come from? Who benefits from a humanity that is too terrified of death to examine what death actually is? Who benefits from billions of souls walking toward the light without ever once asking who built it? Who controls it and what it costs them to step inside? The Gnostic answer is precise. The Demiurge benefits, the Archons benefit, the entire recycling system of the material world benefits. Because a soul that fears death is a soul that will accept whatever comfort is offered to it in that final moment. And whatever comfort is offered in that final moment is designed by the very system that needs the soul to return. What the Gnostics left behind was not philosophy. It was not mythology. It was a survival manual for the soul, hidden in crumbling papyrus, buried in desert jars, condemned by every institution that depended on your ignorance. These teachings survived because the truth has a way of outlasting the hands that try to destroy it. The judgment room is real, not as a physical place, but as a process, a mechanism, a threshold that every soul crosses and that almost no soul crosses with open eyes. What you carry into that moment, your awareness, your remembrance, your refusal to be deceived, may be the only thing that determines what happens to you on the other side of it. The training ground is not the afterlife. The training ground is right now. Every moment of genuine awareness you cultivate in this life is a seed planted for that crossing. Every illusion you dissolve here is one less illusion that can trap you there. If this reached something inside you, if some part of you recognized this not as new information, but as something you had always sensed but never had the language for, then you are exactly who this channel exists for. Subscribe now, because what we are uncovering here goes far deeper than this single video. Every week we pull another thread from the hidden architecture of reality, the suppressed texts, the condemned teachings, the knowledge that was buried precisely because it was too powerful to be allowed to survive. The Archons counted on your forgetting. We are counting on your remembering. Hit subscribe and do not let them win.